Welcome to the DC Beer Show, everybody. You're at DC Beer across social media. Jordan Scoops, Harvey, breaking news on Denizen's closing their Silver Spring location. What are you drinking tonight?
Well, I'm keeping it in Maryland. I'm having a baby cat Kiefer's Kolsch. Yeah, I know all the hopheads out there are wondering if I'm sick because I'm not drinking a hazy IPA right now.
Have you been kidnapped? You okay?
I have not been kidnapped. I just like to spread the wealth. And on these hot few days we've had this past week, I wanted something crispy. So I'm doing that. Brandy, what's in your glass?
Hi, Jordan. I am drinking Alexander from Schilling. I know all of y'all know this beer, and if you don't, I feel sorry for you. You should definitely know this beer. I bought a 4-pack at Craft Beer Cellar. Shout out to Erica. Love you. It's a Czech style Pilsner, and it clocks in at right 5% right on the dot. So it's an easy drinking beer, and I very much like it. Stein, do you have something in your Stein?
I am drinking straight from the can like an absolute novice, but I have Peckham Cidery and Orchard Reserve 2019 Home Block, what they're calling an artisan cider of New Zealand. It's got some wild yeast. It's presenting big Brettanomyces character. No idea if it's Brett positive. Haven't given it a PCR. But I can tell you that this blend of wonderful apples from New Zealand, our Tom Put Major, Harry Masters Jersey, Knotted Kernel, Dabinet, Chisel Jersey Browns, Kingston Black, Porter's Perfection, and Ashton Bitter. It's a dynamite cider. Absolutely wonderful. Jake, our fearless editor, Jake Berg, what are you drinking?
I have here Zero Gravity's Pisolino, Italian-style Pilsner. Zero Gravity is out of Vermont. They are, I think, a reasonably new entry into the DMV market. This is an absolutely delightful beer. I really like it's 5.5%. It is not just a German-style Pils that they threw like extra Herzbrucker or like Hallertau in. Naturally carbonated. I like a little bit of like the extra hop oomph. Carbonation is delicate. The water is soft. And again, if you're going to throw a couple more hops in there, nice to have it be like a 5.5% beer instead of like a 5.2 or sub beer. We have with us, as part of our new experiment, the Solace Outpost Falls Church head brewer, Russell Carpenter. Russell, what are you drinking tonight?
I'm drinking Buzz Magic, actually. This is a new double IPA from the mothership in Sterling. Galaxy and Mosaic hops, 9%. Has that sweet back end that you want with a hazy IPA, but also a lot of that fruit forward, passion fruit, grapefruit stuff that you expect from Galaxy and Mosaic. So I really like this beer. I just wish it wasn't 9%.
Yeah.
Well, the best hazies are the best hazy. So if they're 9%, they're 9%.
That depends.
I know. I have to chime in about an IPA because who else would do it? So
right.
Cheers.
I know people are listening and not viewing this, but when Russell mentioned Buzz Magic, Galaxy Mosaic at 9%, you could see on the screen Jordan's eyes just get like a little bit wider, like, oh, go on, tell me more.
Yeah, I am who I am, and I can only be myself. So I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry.
I mean, unfortunately, I can't tell you that much more because I didn't make it. But we have it on tap at the Outpost for a limited time, and some 4-packs to go in Falls Church.
I just went to a Solace Outpost very recently, the one in Navy Yard. I had what did I have? There was a brown ale I had, and
the Broad Street Brown
a Pilsner there, and then had another one. I forgot which one it was, but yeah, pretty good. Not bad. Wasn't that busy actually, shockingly. So enjoyable.
So yeah, the brown ale,
there was no game. That's why I ventured down there.
So the brown ale at Navy Yard is made by me. It's a very familiar brown ale to some people.
Oh shit! I had your brown ale. Didn't even know it.
Yeah. Brandy, you actually might have had Russell's brown ale before that.
I probably did.
Yeah, sure. And the Pilsner was made by me as well. So
Aw, I had a Russell beer day. I love that. I'm so excited because, like Jake said, we haven't really, maybe one or two times, but we usually just have the interview with our guest and then we plug it in. But you are actually on the whole show with us, which is kind of, I mean, unless you want to drop out at any time, you're probably going to get tired of us. But thanks for being on the show. That's kind of cool.
I mean, I'm already tired. So yeah, no, we're good. We're good.
I mean, he's drinking 9% double IPA on a Tuesday. It's only a matter of time before it gets surly and belligerent. So
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Let's jump into events and then we can get going with all the juicy stuff, right? Isn't that how we usually do it? Yeah.
And we could talk about Russell's event after we talk about other events. Yeah.
You know what? We can't talk about it because I'm not going to be here and I'm going to miss it. And I'm going to log off because I'm going to be bitter. Real quick, couple things that I am into. Hellbender, my lovely neighborhood brewery, they're doing a live music series. So check out their Instagram. I will make sure that I share it on the socials. And, it's free music and they usually have some pretty good people playing. So it's go support Hellbender. They're tiny little tucked away in the neighborhood. So come give my neighborhood a boost. There's Arts and Ale Festival in Hyattsville. Love me some Hyattsville. And, we'll talk about the Denizen's closing. So thanks again, Jordan, for scooping that and talking to Julie. Beer Share is this weekend. Hello. Yay. We're back at Right Proper, Brooklyn. Thank you, Bree. That's my girl. If you're interested in joining, make sure you sign up for our newsletter, reach out to us. And then other than that, I'm looking forward to this DC State Fair homebrew and cider competition at Metro Bar tomorrow on Saturday. And then the DMV Girls Pint Out 10th year anniversary is also on Saturday at the Andy's Pizza in Shaw. So go support the Girls Pint Out. And I'm going to be missing all the Oktoberfest the weekend that I'm in Cleveland. So send me all of your pictures and Oktoberfest attire, please. I'll miss you all. Jordan, what's going on? I know Third Hill's having a Oktoberfest too, and Other Half.
Yeah, it is upon us, or at least it's almost upon us. I think we're about a week out. But before we get to the Oktoberfest events, we have a fruit bowl of lambics. Sovereign, they're having an event tonight, so you can slide by good old Sovereign if you're looking for some lambics or any of the Belgian style beers that they offer. If you're trying to stay healthy before you get into the Oktoberfest shenanigans, Noma Run Club, they're hosting a Noma beer run tomorrow. They have some participating breweries as well. That's how it ties into the beer. You can choose your distance if you want to do 2 miles or 5 miles. And then we get into next week. That's where the fun really begins. On the 14th, that's next Thursday, Oktoberfest at Atlas Brewworks. That's the Navy Yard location. We also have a Church Key tap takeover, the Great Lakes out of Cleveland, where Brandy will be next week. They'll be coming to DC, so you guys will be trading places. They're doing a 35th anniversary party at Church Key. And then we get into the good stuff that I'm sure Russell can tell us all about. The Outpost at Solace is having a LAGERFEST next Saturday, September 16th. So many Oktoberfest going on. I want to call it October already, but September 16th, you can stop by the Falls Church location. 30 well-crafted lagers and pilsners for all the crispy boys out there will be provided. So definitely keep your eyes open for that. And as always, if you're looking for some trivia at Other Half on Wednesday. So yeah, come and check me out. And yeah, that's what I'm tracking for now. I think we got some other stuff on the horizon, like Port City's Wonderfest. But what else are you guys looking at?
Really, like looking at the event calendar, this upcoming weekend, it seems chill. And then as soon as you hit Thursday, the 14th, it's bam, go.
It's crazy.
You mentioned Great Lakes. Atlas Oktoberfest starts on the 14th. And while Oktoberfests are Lagerfests, not all Lagerfests are Oktoberfests. And so we're going to discuss that in a minute. Jordan.
And I'd be remiss if I did not mention where I will be September 17th with our good friends at Wheatland Springs for their Oktoberfest. So definitely check that one out. If it wasn't on your radar, if you want to get out to the farm, that's something else on the calendar. All right, over to you, Jake.
So, Russell, we don't see a ton of events over at the Solace Outpost Falls Church. We know that Mad Fox used to do a thing or two, but oftentimes that thing was like a barley wine fest in January or February, and it left everyone nice and warm and toasty. What's up with LAGERFEST? Why do it? Why so close to Oktoberfest?
Well, because Oktoberfest. I mean, why not, right? So, I mean, lagers are synonymous with Oktoberfest. So I figured I would just bring a bunch of my industry friends in to have essentially, it's almost like an excuse to have a party with my friends in the industry.
Word.
So, I mean, essentially all the breweries / one cidery, Lost Boy that I invited and they accepted are, I either know the brewers and or owners. So it's just going to be a good time. You know, we're going to close down the street in front of the outpost, just like Mad Fox used to do. And we're going to set up outside and pour beer. So it's just going to be a good time. We're going to have Lost Lederhosen, which is a fantastic German band, out for the event. And it will coincide with our Oktoberfest at the outpost. So food specials, and just lagers.
I feel like that's how all the beer events are. It's just like all the beer buddies get together and, shoot the shit and drink all day and party, because sometimes they're coming in from different states and then everybody, like all the attendees get to feel that vibe, like from the camaraderie from all of the brewers that are visiting and hanging out as friends. And that it just gives it just sets the whole mood, and it just makes everything more welcoming and inviting and fun. And I think that's why these type of events are not only fun for the brewers themselves, but for the guests, because there's this air of just fun, and I love that. Right.
And that's the point of this essentially, is that there's either going to be a brewer / owner / person that works on a brewery that I know pouring their beer. And I don't like it when I go to beer fest and see some kind of volunteer and I ask them what hops are in this beer or what is this, and they can't tell me. So that's the point of this, like to have the people there that make the beer or the people that own the business to talk about their beer because they're passionate about it, just as I am about mine. And so everything, all the beers outside at the beer fest are going to be available for, tasters, but also all the beers inside are available for tasters as well. If people aren't familiar with Solace, they can come in and have anything, like one of the 18 beers we have on draft. Most of them I don't make, but some of them I do. So they can like sample anything. It's like 50 plus beers.
That's a lot. We're super excited, and it's cool to hear you getting pumped on friends who are coming to pour. I know I'm really thrilled to see Black Hoof Brewing there, who obviously, you mentioned Lost Boy and the cidery, and they're unique given that they're the sole cider provider there. But who are you most excited, or what are you super pumped on? Either because they're usually not on Broad Street, or because they're coming with something interesting that you're passionate about.
I would say I'm happy that there are a few breweries on the list that do not distribute at all, which is Black Hoof for one. Quattro Goombas, my friend Chris Jakes makes fantastic beer out there, but it's in Aldi, like way out in Loudoun County. So not many people from Falls Church or even from Reston, where I live, get out there. My friend Josh Chapman at Black Narrows, he has a couple beers that were delivered today that are they're great. I mean, I've had one of them. The other one I haven't had. But I'm just excited about an event that focuses around something no offense to anybody listening about IPA, you know, like everybody
Says
has
the person
IPA.
drinking the IPA.
Right. I mean, that's the only thing I have right now in my fridge. but,
I'm just joshing.
but however,
Russell.
yes, touche, Brandy. Thank you, Brandy. But it's just I don't know, to bring people out to taste beer, like beer flavored beer. Like that's the thing. And yeah, maybe a third of the beers are going to be Märzen, Oktoberfest style. I think Port City's bringing the Helles and the Mexican Dark Lager, which I've had both of, which are awesome. But, you know, we have to showcase something else other than the IPA. And we'll talk about how many flavors you can hide behind with an IPA.
Yeah, I mean, this is interesting to me on two levels. One is that when you do a fest that's a lager fest, how much curation is involved, given that it's also Oktoberfest season? Just assuming that people are going to bring a Märzen, bring a fest beer, and so is there less direction given to these breweries than there would be at other festivals where you're trying to ensure some more of a quote unquote balance in terms of styles?
There was no curation, essentially, by my part, other than the breweries telling me what they had. And I was like, okay, this brewery has X and X or whatever. So I'll take that and that. And there are multiple breweries that had multiple beers to offer. And I was like, well, these other breweries are bringing let's say a Helles and German Pils. Can you bring your German Pils? Because I've had it before and it's good. And can you also bring your Märzen? And then, you know, my friend Chris at Quattro Gumbas, he's like, yeah, my light lager, I'm going to bring that and my Märzen. I was like, that's fine. So it's almost like you can taste different, like a bunch of different Märzens at the same time, instead of being if you're in Munich, you're drinking the same thing brewed by 6 different breweries. So now you can be at one place and drink 6 Märzens that are totally different, even though they're a Märzen. So I didn't curate much, except for there were a couple of breweries I was like, yeah, can you bring this because I like it? And that was it. And they were like, yeah, no, that's not a problem.
So earlier you mentioned using hops to sort of hide flavors. And to me, it's interesting because I think that when people think Solace, they think partly cloudy. That's the number one IPA that's produced and the number one seller.
Sun's out, hops out.
Yeah, sun's out, hops out with Brandy. You could find it in Costco. And I look at it sort of as like a local answer, a local version to like a hazy little thing, or like a Firestone Walker, in that this is a locally produced, reasonably shelf stable, clean hazy IPA. Like it's always going to taste really nice and well done. But not all hazies, not all IPAs are like that. And there is this. There certainly are beers that I think we've all had where people just kind of like, well, throw some hops in there and, see if that gets at the off flavors.
Right. And to your point, that's like if you go to a brewery, like a new brewery, just try their lager, try their Pilsner. If it's not great, their IPAs probably aren't going to be great. Like, no offense to those breweries, but it's when it comes to making lagers and Pilsners, there's nothing to hide behind. So you can't just throw more hops at it. When it comes to IPAs in this area, yes, Partly Cloudy is a very good IPA. Lucy Juicy is a very good IPA. Mustang Sally makes a good IPA. No Falcon Around, I think is what it's called.
This is a family show.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. You say what you want, Russell.
But yes, the more hops you throw, like if something doesn't turn out how you want it to, you could probably throw more hops at it and it might be okay, but it might not be okay. It just depends on the person that's tasting it.
I would say, as the again, the neighborhood hophead, it's nice to have festivals where other beer styles are appreciated. Like Snallygaster is on the horizon. In previous years at Snallygaster, it's been a bourbon barrel aged beer festival, smoothie sours, hazy doubles, all these big beers, and it's like, what has happened to the beer? And I'm saying this as someone who, I really enjoy IPAs, all of them. I mean, other half is turning into my new neighborhood haze factory. But I think it's nice to take a break from the haze. Like I'm having a Kolsch right now. It's nice to have just some of those traditional styles. They're crisp. It's still hot as hell outside. It'll probably still be hot next Thursday, next Saturday, when everything kicks off. So just shout out to you guys for doing that, because again, if I could just get all my friends together and then all be brewery owners and we all just come together and bring our beer together and drink all day with friends and family, sounds like a hell of a time to me. So kudos to Solace. I have to make my way down to the Falls Church. I haven't been to that location, but I have been to the mothership, as you called it. So it'll be nice to see how the two compare.
Well, it's also, it's what, not to blanket all brewers, but it's what we drink. We drink the 5% Pilsners, Helles, lagers, whatever. That's what we drink, because you can't drink that all day when you brew. Like, you can't drink a double IPA all day when you brew.
Jordan's challenge accepted.
Right. I don't know. It's just easy drinking beers, and especially right now, like you said, Jordan, it's really hot. Like today it was like 90, 98 or something in Reston. I'm in Reston, so
yeah.
And it's like, you can't drink an Imperial Stout. That's for sure.
You shouldn't.
You could, but you should not. Right?
Yeah, I agreed.
But yeah, that's another reason. It's like bringing my friends together, and all my friends are brewers and owners of breweries that, like, that's what they drink. Like, they drink Helles, they drink Pilsner, they drink lagers. So I think the highest ABV of any lager that's going to be there is like 7-ish.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So Jordan, you're out, right?
No. I'm in. I might have an IPA in the car for a palate cleanser.
Right. Well, that's the thing, is that we have IPAs inside, so you can drink.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah. I'll have to get that, the IPA you just told us about. But one of the questions I do have, I guess, with that being kind of the culture for like brewers and like for brewery owners, have you guys noticed any new consumer trends in terms of, do you think other folks are starting to kind of get out of the whole haze craze, like post-pandemic, or do you still think hazies are what people are looking for, but true beer lovers stay for the lagers and the pilsners? Is that what you think? Have you noticed that?
I've been on this train for a long time, but it's been clear, like real, in my opinion, IPAs. So clear IPAs that are crisp, clean, but still hop forward. That's a big thing at the Outpost and Falls Church. The lagers have been great. Artificial Light is a German Pilsner that I make that's selling like mad at both locations, both in Falls Church and Navy Yard. But I do see an upward trend in fruited sours. I can't actually keep them on tap. Like, it's like, I got guys calling me from Navy Yard Outpost, be like, "Hey, when do we get the next fruited sour?" I was like, "Dude, I still have some. Like, do you want some? Like, I'll send you it." But it's, I don't know, that especially people in DC down in Navy Yard just tear through any kind of fruited sour.
From what I have gathered, especially starting my Women's Brew Culture Club, when you get people who are, say, going to baseball games or just in the neighborhood and the Navy Yard, and they hop into Solace and they don't drink beer necessarily, but they're at a brewery, they tend to go for sours. And so it's kind of like certain people's gateway beers, and I respect that. It's different than like drinking Bud Lights or whatever. So that's probably, if I could guess, why there's the fruited sours are selling like hotcakes down at Navy Yard. It's probably because of the probably not normally beer drinkers who want something refreshing and not necessarily beer tasting, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. The other piece to it,
I agree.
though, as we're seeing more drinkers from Gen Z get into beer or coming into the fold, that generation, and myself being an elder millennial, we're looking for flavor delivery devices. So there's been all this doom and gloom, and I talked to a lot of the reporters covering this, like Kate Bernat and Brian Roth, and the idea is not that they're drinking less, they're just drinking different. And part of that difference is having fruited sours, many of which aren't actually sour. And I can't tell you how many people I've talked to who've never tried the classics. This is always great fun, right? You've got an Imperial Berliner in DC. It's 6% ABV, and it's got, 15 pounds of raspberry puree per barrel. But they may have never had Duchess de Bourgogne. They may never have had Rodenbach. And so giving them a bottle of that and then getting their opinion, their take on it has been wonderful, because it's like they get the hook on stage with the sour fruited beer, but then you can kind of put them onto classics. And I love doing that.
Yeah.
I think it depends on what they think they want. It's almost what like every other beer drinker thinks that they want. And I think it's like, oh, let me drink the most popular beer. Oh, I should like this because it's, 4 point whatever on Untapped. But they probably don't. They're like, oh, but my friends like it, so maybe I should. And when you talk about, like Rodenbach, that's an amazing beer. And it's so complex. It's like a wine, essentially. So maybe some people aren't ready for that, and so they go for the fruited sour that, oh, this is a cherry sour. We have a Goza with cherries, and they're like, holy shit, this is awesome. And then they hate Redenbach because it's 5 years old once they drink it. But we had that issue when I was at Rocket Frog. The first beer I made, the first sour beer I made, did not have any fruit in it. It was just a Goza. So my son's name is Kai, and Kai means ocean in Hawaiian. So it's Kai Goza to the beach. And
I know that. That was named after your son. Oh, okay.
It was, yes. And we had it on tap for, I don't know, 9 months. And it was still fine. Because it's just a Goza. Like, it's just a sour. The next one was Kai Goes to the Beach with pink guava, and we couldn't even keep that in stock. So it's the same base, but with pink guava. And I think at that time, which was 3-4 years ago, that's when people wanted the Drecker, not to name drop or whatever, but the smoothie sour, the thing that was chunky or whatever. And that's what people wanted. So that's what.
Yeah. It's hard to imagine that world 4 years ago where there was no hard Mountain Dew, where Baja Blast was not an alcoholic option for me.
And you don't have a variety pack of Mountain Dew now, like hard Mountain Dew now.
That's right.
Or
What a timeline we live in.
Oh yeah.
But that is really fascinating, Russell, in regards to the Goza, straight Goza, quote unquote, with the guava side by side, and see that's sort of, that's data that proves the theory that people want at least what they think they want. And in that case, it's more guava, more cowbell, more guava,
more everything, whatever. Yeah. More, whatever it is. And so I would agree to an extent, because I really liked the base by itself. It was sour, it was tart, it was punchy. It had coriander, it had salt. But then once you add the guava, it was immensely better. Like, and I agreed with everybody else. And then I did a dry hop version, and at the Outpost now, I mean, I'm doing various fruits of essentially the same recipe. And, I mean, and people love the fruit forwardness of it.
Russell, I have a question. How long have you worked for Solace?
I've been at Solace Outpost since December of 2021, so a year and 9 months ish.
Oh, okay.
9 months.
Do you by chance know off the top of your head what the top selling beer at each of the Solace breweries are?
So the biggest seller at the Outpost and Falls Church is flip-flopping between Artificial Light, which is German pills that I make, and Partly Cloudy, which is the standard of Solace at my place. At Navy Yard, they're asking me for sours all the time, so I'm assuming it's a sour, maybe, that is probably half and half with the German pills, maybe, and Partly Cloudy as well. I don't know. Partly Cloudy is the biggest seller for Solace by far, for sure.
Okay. So the same out in the original location too, I'm assuming.
Well, yeah, they make that. Like, I don't make it. So, I mean, and so that's probably 60% of their production.
So one question I have, and Stein, you made me think about it because we have lived through some interesting years. Do you guys do any seltzers at Solace or the Outpost?
I make a base seltzer that is not flavored.
Okay.
For the Outpost and for anybody that buys seltzer from Solace.
Okay.
So that's recent. That's in the recent maybe 6 months or so. So it's like a 7% base. Are you familiar with the Crush cocktails? KRSH?
I've seen them. I haven't had them.
All right. So that base seltzer is what I make.
Oh,
and
okay.
Essentially, it's like a kegerator with as you open the tap, it infuses the seltzer with whatever you want.
Gotcha.
And so this company makes a syrup. It's like a cocktail. It's almost like a cocktail thing.
Okay.
Like you could have a mojito type.
Nice.
And so I make that now. I don't know what I'm going to do in the future.
I was just curious. Yeah. I was just curious. And for the listeners, I'm not judging anyone's selection. Again, before I really, I guess, cut my teeth with beer, I just picked the one with the highest ABV. So I'm never judging anybody for seltzer or sours or barrel-aged beers or not drinking IPAs. But yeah, Jake, over to you. It sounds like there was I think we left everyone wanting more. So I'll turn it over to you, sir. You got it.
Yeah, I mean, my question was basically how Solace coordinates brewing across 3 locations. I mean, I know that the Navy Yard Outpost doesn't brew, but it kind of technically does because for the purposes of DC tax purposes, barrel aging a beer counts as brewing it in DC. And so,
right. So there's barrels there.
Yeah. But
yeah, no, they don't actually physically brew there. Yes.
Yeah. But if Solace has Partly Cloudy out all the time, are you under guidance to not do something that is like Partly Cloudy, for example, or say that's like Beer 30 or the wheat beer, for example? Like, is there sort of like discussion of like, oh, like you actually might be cannibalizing the sales from Sterling if you did something that was too close to what they were making?
No, actually, because they don't actually tell me what to do. It's kind of crazy, which is fine to an extent. I don't like to be micromanaged, but they also know that I know what I'm doing when it comes to making beer and keeping their brand like on brand essentially. But I do not make I have not made Partly Cloudy, Lucy Juicy, or Sun's Out, or a little bit. I have made a little bit. Sorry, not a little bit cloudy. Too Legit. A couple of times for them because they have the canning line, so they want to can more. They're like, hey, can you make a batch of Partly Cloudy, or sorry, Too Legit. We need to can more of it.
All right. LAGERFEST, September 16th. Thank you, Russell. Much appreciated. I hope that for the listeners, this little experiment works out. And we're at DC Beer across social media. Be well, everybody. And everybody hydrate, because Oktoberfest, LAGERFest, and then Snally. Bam, bam, bam. I guess Battle of the Barrels is in there too.
I'll see you guys there.
Get your livers ready this month, y'all.
You guys going to Snally?
Yes.
I'll see you there.
By the way, folks, I don't know if we realize, but this is officially the last pod of the summer. The next pod drops in the fall. So it's been a joyous summer. We still got a couple more summer events to hit, but this will be the last time you guys hear our lovely voices until fall 2023. I just want to throw that out there because the fall is my favorite. LAGERFest. Yes.
LAGERFest.
And the fall is my favorite season.
LAGERFest.
All right.
LAGERFest.
LAGERFest.
I'm just going to see that.
Bye, everybody. See you at
Cheers, DC Beer
LAGERFest. See you at
fans.
Snally. Woohoo!